Here we go. Welcome back to the Apothecary Diaries Anime Review, episode number 17. We're here reviewing the penultimate episode of season 2 of the show, the She Clan. Yes, I do know about the fact the show's been renewed for season 3. Good. The show's actually really good. So, before I talk about the episode itself, this episode is a heavy exposition episode. There is a tiny bit of action, and also Momo appears in a brief credit scene. You know, the star of the series. So basically focus on Joshing the whole episode. It's like he's like the focus character here. Where he's like looking around, see if anybody else is there. They go to the room where basically shows where his mother was basically at. So, opens the wall, like, oh, there she is. With a flintlock pistol. Actually, before this, they meet with the head of the She Clan, who puts on, apparently through the actual performance about this, where that he was one responsible for. So then you have the Royal Guard pretty much all massacre him right there. Yeah, this is overdoing it. One stab would be perfectly fine, but having 10 people stab him at once with their swords, that's overdoing it. He dies, laughing. And then, of course, that's when Josh meets up with his daughter. One of his two daughters, per se. This actually is the one who's the daughter of his wife, and then the other one is the daughter of the Emperor, the previous one. We'll get back to that. So, then, of course, he has her follow. Of course, she proceeds to have him follow her to a room, which has her sister, her half sister, and her mother there, where basically she reveals to her mother that her sister is actually of Imperial blood, which Mama already knew about that from a previous episode. Her mother had no idea about this. She probably assumed that she was probably some daughter of some prostitute that he probably brought home. Yeah, or probably he had an affair, and basically she reveals the actual reason why, because apparently she was a high consort, a high concubine for the previous emperor, because the empress, the mother of the previous emperor, was not a very nice lady, and apparently the whole thing, they do go into a why that the rear palace looks so big, that was apparently all the Emperor's mother idea, basically, to populate all these women there. Okay, we get a mention of that. We do get an explanation of, the whole thing. So, apparently, the Emperor feels guilt by impregnating these very young girls. So, he tells the head of the She Clan to take his daughter as his bride. And you do it in exchange, basically, when he considers back later on, this, of course, actually is Shishao's older sister, by the way. Because the fact he made this very young emperor a grandfather, the woman he wants gets released immediately. And she comes home, gives birth to a second daughter. She, of course, treats him like garbage, because apparently she doesn't basically, she's, so bitter being away from the royal palace. It's like being at the rear palace from the viewer perspective seems like it corrupted her, where she's so bitter she'd rather be there than there. And so and apparently it turns out that Lane Lao, the head of the She Clan, he actually helped build the rear palace and a secret tunnel. And apparently she was offered, prior to her being released from the service being concubine, to escape. She said no, because that was beneath her. And Shisha points out to her, "Let's get back then. Nope, you chose to stay." And it took basically the Emperor become a grandfather in order for you to be released. So, yeah. And by the way, still has a pistol on her. So her mother proceeds to grab the pistol, tries to fire at her, and then it backfires on her, killing her. And basically tells Jin Shao, "Can you please pardon anybody else who has nothing really to do with the corruption?" And one in a favor, takes one of Megger's long little fake fingers, slices his face, and then proceeds to go outside dancing until she's shot by one of the royal guards, presumably for scarring the Moon Prince. And by the way, her sister, she tries to go save her. She fails. She's not killed. She's not doing anything. She isn't anything really wrong. So I highly doubt Gene Shao's going to have her arrested for a lot of this stuff. She probably was coerced to do this stuff. So he, of course, is bandaged up, of course. And then, apparently, by the way, where's Mao's doting father? He's off healing his broken back. So I come across a tent where Mao is, which is a tent with housing a bunch of dead children who were all poisoned. Not stabbed, not shot, poisoned. Yeah, and apparently she wanted to sleep there for some reason. And he looks at her like there's this weird mark on her neck, and that wakes her up, and that's the episode. Really good episode, mind you. Yes. And if you don't like heavy exhibition episodes, then this may not be one for you. But this does basically review a lot of the plans related to a lot of the stuff during the second half of the season. That's basically what this episode was pretty much explaining. You at least got handed the fact they actually threw an explanation of the rear palace of why it looks so big. Of course, this is all from book 4 of the series, mind you. Yes. But yeah, everybody does a great job here. Yes, of course, I do watch the dub for this thing. So I have one more to go, and then Thursday. Now Thursday, as of right now, Friday, after the next episode of this appears on Friday, next Friday, of course, which is going to be July 18th. And then, for the first time this year, Friday is going to be free, a free day. You're like, really? Yes, really. Wednesday, I'm thinking maybe next week, because we only had one, I think it was like one new anime premiere that for dub-wise, that was registered here. I was surprised about that. So expect, hopefully on Wednesday, at least three reviews on Wednesday, of course. Thursday, after this coming week, we'll reduce down from having 3 down to 2. And we'll wrap it up our last week of the Rise of the World, because we just wrapped up Brilliant Heroes New Life in Darkness. Yep. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much that particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up we have is my long-awaited comic corner I really wanted to do for the last few days, but I just had no time. But now I've got time. Okay, next video. Bye.